Tesla stock is down about 2% today, and Wall Street, yet again, is missing some huge news. This tweet could live in infamy forever. Ashok Alaswamy, he is the autopilot and head of AI at Tesla, and he says at 1:41 in the morning, technically today on April 1st, my birthday, he says, "It is the beginning of the end." There is lots of speculation what he means by this. Is it the end of humans driving? Is it the end of the beta program with FSD? Are they ready for further scaling of FSD into fully autonomous robotaxi platforms or many other use cases? A lot of you guys are speculating that internally at Tesla, they have actually solved FSD once and for all. After all, Charles QI, that's his X account, he was one of the head developers at Waymo back in 2019 when Waymo was a concept theory and they were trying to make it a reality. Well, he recently left Waymo and joined Tesla's autopilot FSD team, and he just said like 3 days ago, day one at Tesla, and it's already mind-blowing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla internally at least has actually solved FSD once and for all. This could be the beginning of the end for FSD beta and the start of a new chapter towards something much better. I think Wall Street is severely counting Tesla out at precisely the moment that I think the most people should be the most bullish on Tesla they have ever been. If back in 2021, when Tesla was trading at all-time highs, if the end goal was the robotaxi network and autonomous vehicles, which clearly that was everyone's main kind of objective at the time, wouldn't you be a lot more bullish on Tesla today than you were then? I think people are really counting Tesla out heading into Tesla's earnings. Forget the number that we get tomorrow for deliveries. Earnings are going to be the big catalyst for Tesla, and it wouldn't surprise me if we start to hear more about the robotaxi network. That could force analysts to bake that into their valuation models and thus send Tesla stock much higher. Another one of Tesla's engineers says FSD V12 could be the iPhone/ChatGPT moment, and it's just the beginning. He says FSD 12 could arguably be the iPhone ChatGPT moment of driving, where millions of customers can install a software update on their cars and experience a glimpse of the future. He says this is just the beginning and more to come soon. I feel like that's an understatement at this point. The rate of speed in which we're getting updates to FSD is mind-blowing. It's really incredible to see the speed in which the development is really starting to take place. Tesla did indeed follow through with the expected price increase on the Model Y today, and they raised all Model Y trims in the US by $1,000. Tesla China promotes battery tech, cites 12% degradation on Model S after 200,000 miles. That's pretty dang good considering the average car gets 200 to 300,000 miles, only 12% degradation on the battery. I'll take that. We are now spotting some Model 3 ludicrous versions. This is the performance variant of the Model 3, spotted in some showrooms. Joe Tetmeyer on X says the end of the first quarter push really emptied out the new vehicles, particularly Model Ys, from all areas around Giga Texas this weekend. I've heard locally Tesla rented a huge parking area in Austin for a massive delivery event. Check out these images to see what Giga Texas car lots look like today, and they do look pretty dang drained. All you really see here is a bunch of Cybertrucks, but yeah, pretty drained overall. Chuck Cook, he is someone that does reviews on FSD and does ride sharing on FSD, not necessarily with passengers, but shares his experiences with FSD for us. He says he did a 40-minute drive with 12.3.3, and he had 0 disengagements, 0 interventions. This was the first time that has ever happened. Tesla offered the CEO of Samsung Electromechanics Company a chance to test drive the Cybertruck. He said, quote, "It was more comfortable than I thought, and the acceleration was greater than I thought. The ability to recognize the surroundings with 10 cameras was excellent, and the short turning radius and large wiper were impressive." Roland Percher points out on X, only back in 2021 for Q4 did Troy Teslike and Tesla's IR compiled estimates for deliveries coming out tomorrow have more of a gap than this quarter. He says they could miss quite big and the stock could move big as well. We will talk about this in depth in the next video. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Spain reported 1,458 Tesla sales and 1.6% market share for March, 38% of which were the Model Y, 61% of which were the Model 3. This was the fourth best month ever, and you are positive 43% higher than last month. Oh, and I should mention, analyst consensus opinion, the IR consensus, is 431,000 for Tesla deliveries tomorrow, which Tesla just a couple of days ago announced they produced their 6 millionth vehicle. That puts them at about 415,000 plus 2 days of production. What does that mean for deliveries? Well, maybe Tesla delivered more than they produced, like last quarter. It's really hard to say, but I think you're looking at anywhere from 410,000 to 440,000. But I don't think the number really matters all too much, and we'll talk about why in the next video. The Cybertruck will be unveiled in Thailand on April 6th, 2024. Portugal reported 1,184 Tesla sales and 5.2% market share for March. This was the second best month ever and 3% higher than last month. Gary Black writes on X, Tesla reports Q1 deliveries this week. Expectations are rock bottom. That is likely bullish. You can see Dan Ives has lowered his estimate for Tesla deliveries down to about 426,000. Adam Jonas with Morgan Stanley, he lowered his estimate from 469,000 down to 425,000. So estimates are pretty dang low. Tony Saganagi, he just recently lowered his Tesla price target. He had an estimate of 490,000 deliveries. He reduced that down to 426,000 deliveries. Troy Teslike, his expected delivery number is about 409,000. Yet at the same time, you're seeing Tesla actually raising prices. This should really tell you something. Global inventory numbers for the Tesla lineup really falling a little bit today for the Model Y, but shooting up big time for the Model X, Model S, a little bit for the Model S, a lot for the Model 3 and the Model X. Google Trends data continues to show a very large acceleration in search trend activity. Holy guacamole. The Model 3 going from 39 to 40, the Model Y going from 37 to 40, and the Cybertruck going from 40 to 42. The Model X went from 11. Well, it's still at 11. The Model S recently went from 12 to 15. That is high for the Model S. And really, this should not be happening this time of the year for Tesla. It's not like this is the boom time for Tesla. Boom time for Tesla is Q3, Q4. You are seeing the highest search trend numbers that you have seen since September. These numbers are better than October and November. Tesla's, last Q4, last Q3. You're seeing better numbers? That's insane right now. Tesla is continuing to run about 4,000 different ads with Google. Over on StockTwits, sentiment today is neutral on Tesla, which is actually surprising considering the stock is down about 2%. The number is at 51. That's a little bit higher than yesterday's number of 48. Message volume is at 46. Yesterday was at 37. So more search activity here on StockTwits, more people talking about Tesla. And you can see here the participation ratio is at 57. So more accounts are talking about Tesla today. Option activity from hedge funds and institutions today in Tesla's stock is quite positive. You have seen 522 orders totaling $119 million with a positive order value of 59%. And short sellers are biting off more than they can chew here over the next couple of weeks, in my opinion, with the highest short interest you have seen in Tesla stock in about the last 2 years. You have 3.71% short interest of free float, $18.04 billion currently sold short, with 102.64 million shares that are currently sold short. As I showed in the last video, full self-driving Google Trends are hitting levels I don't believe have ever seen before. Let's just take this back to 2004. Yeah, you've never seen anything like this before. Not even in your wildest dreams have you seen anything like this. You are at 100 for full self-driving Google Trend activity. Markets today are declining. This is also not helping Tesla. The Russell 2000 is down about 1%. The NASDAQ down 0.1%. S&P is down 1/3%. And the Dow is down about 0.7%. What's notable here is you're really not getting much of a drop in the S&P, not much of a drop in the NASDAQ, but the VIX is actually up 7.3%. If you guys are unfamiliar how the VIX works, the VIX is just showing you the option activity on the S&P 500. So if there's more calls being bought than puts on the S&P on any given day, the VIX will fall or just not do anything. But it won't rise, right? It'll fall or just not do anything. If you see more puts being bought on the S&P, the VIX goes higher. 7% higher on the VIX is showing quite an influx to big money trying to hedge out their portfolios, which that does make sense considering Q1 was so strong. Q2 is probably not going to be as strong as Q1. And if we are going to get a correction in the markets, this upcoming week would not be a bad time to start that. On a technical basis, the triple Qs, this is the ETF that I like to look at that tracks the NASDAQ 100. You have broke down under this support trend line. Not exactly great. You've seen some resistance here as well today. You were not able to get above that. Next stop could be around 438 for the triple Qs. That could be downside, maybe even this week, of about 1.2%. Now, that's not where this likely stops, though. I think you need to get a larger correction than that. Your 50-day moving average, if we test that, that would be a drop of about 2.2%. That is down to about 434. Your 100-day moving average would imply a drop of about 7%, and that would take you down to about 414. JP Morgan believes the stock market is ultimately going to retest October, November lows. I don't know if I'm in that camp, that 20% crash camp, but JP Morgan is, so I wouldn't rule out a 7% correction from here. But again, as I have said before, a correction implies correcting something. Tesla stock is corrected plus some already. So if you do get a correction in the markets, it's likely going to correct stocks that need the correction. A Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, all of those kind of names. But could Tesla also sell off if the markets do start to sell off? Yes, but it doesn't have to. The percent of stocks today above their 50-day moving average is down about 6.6%. 4.36% of stocks broadly in the markets are falling under their 50-day moving average today. That's not great. Overall number is 61.74% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. So more stocks than not are above that 50-day moving average. So the markets are in a decent place right now as far as kind of the average stock, but you're still well off of your highs that you were on December 28th. So you're definitely not in this broad-based rally. And, you know, I'm really not expecting the average stock is going to fall from here. Again, if we do get a correction, it's probably going to be in the areas of the markets that need a correction, like the NASDAQ and the S&P and the top names in those indexes. But this video really wouldn't be complete if I didn't give you the data that came out this morning. You had ISM Manufacturing PMI that just went positive for the first time in a long time, 18 months or so. It's been under 50. You came in at 50.3. The estimate was 48.3, so that was 2 points higher than the estimate. ISM Manufacturing Employment came in a little bit higher than expected as well at 47.4. The estimate was 46. Construction spending fell negative 0.3% month over month. Estimate was positive 0.4%, but it's really these two categories. ISM Manufacturing new orders came in at 51.4. Estimate was 49.5. So there's a lot of activity starting up again in manufacturing. But look at this. Manufacturing prices came in at 55.8. The estimate was 52.5. So you beat by 3 points there. And that's directly related to manufacturing prices, right? Inflationary pressures in manufacturing may start to come back if manufacturing comes back. Odds are 56.5% that we get a cut in June. So that's still the most likely opinion here is a cut in June. There's a 42.9% chance of a continued pause. And check this out. For the first time in a long time, there's a 0.5% that we actually get a rate hike. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Take a look at what changed here. So on Thursday, the odds of a continued pause were 39.6%. Today, they're almost 43%. So based on this data today, it did move expectations for Fed policy. And that's likely the reason why the Russell is selling off today. We will talk about this more in the next video, but we are going to get some big data tomorrow as well, with JOLTS job openings, expecting those to fall slightly, but really not a big deal. Some Fed speakers, Fed Bowman speaks at 10:10 in the morning tomorrow, Fed Williams at noon, Fed Mester right around noon as well. And then Fed Daily speaks at about 1:30 p.m. So lots of Fed speakers tomorrow, as well as JOLTS job openings, could set you up for more volatility. And yes, Tesla reports their Q1 delivery numbers. Tesla stock is really sitting in a strange spot on a technical basis heading into tomorrow's print. You are sitting right at support of this uptrending trend line. If you fall under that, you could get a big gap down to the 160s or so. If indeed the markets take the number tomorrow from Tesla as positive and there's nothing really bad that caused the markets to fall, if Tesla can break out above this trend line where my cursor is at about $177 or so, that could set you up for more upside back to the higher end range of this channel, which could be about 188. Yes, so tomorrow is going to be an epic day for Tesla stock. Thank you guys for joining me here today. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about all of this Tesla news and what's going on in the broader markets today down below in the comments section. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. If you guys want to come join the trading community, the private group, check that link out down below in the description of this video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.